impressed.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for you.
Really?
Yes. It don't start till 105 on YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll
so it
start till
is.
105.
It is live right now.
If we subscribe to you, it literally notifies us when you're about to join.
That's true.
Yes.
Have you guys ever heard of Dave Ramsey?
Big Ramsey. Sounds familiar.
He put out this movie. I wish it. I tried to bootleg it, but it was. He has a movie about student loans,
I was like, what did he possibly have a whole movie about?
and it's about student loans. I wish it bootlegged better. They allow educators to get free access to it, and he gives good solutions to it. So I bootlegged it one weekend, and I just found this. So it's not boot. Right, yeah, because I certainly have a lot. Um, my intention was to show it to you guys soon, but I want to see if I can get free access instead because it's the bootleg. Have you ever bought, like, I live in Cincinnati, so in Over the Rhine we would buy the bootleg CDs, and sometimes somebody stands up in the middle to go to the bathroom and walks out.
Yeah.
But this is Intro to Social Work. So, okay, we have people online. And I want to give free range to computer if you wanted any access to, like, websites to show things or whatever. But we are now officially live if you want to.
So do I? Am I supposed to?
If you want to, I could always turn it around. Right now I have it aimed here and then it looks at that. So whatever is most comfortable to you. So let me know if you'd rather if you'd rather sit up on the large live screen and scan, we could, or sitting down is very comfortable.
Sitting
you're
down
welcome.
is super comfortable.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
You can flip the wire. I don't know why the wire wants to take over my chair. So,
Look at that.
yeah. But you know that's how we've had to do classes
And
for
no,
2
I
years.
did not know.
That's scary.
I didn't know if people were like in or out of class.
Right. A little bit of both, and to top it off, it's asynchronously recording, so they can
Oh,
save it
that's-
and watch it
Okay.
later.
Yeah.
So it makes it very
Oh,
confusing.
okay. Sure. Great.
If you're okay with that, I guess I should ask
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good. How do I know? So I'm on now, right?
Right. There's at least.
So you don't ever see like who's there? I can't see.
So I
anybody.
do see at least one, and then
Okay. Cool.
you're live and in person.
Okay.
You can
All right.
introduce yourself too.
Then short and sweet, and you should, because I've been on the floor dancing with her, and I don't even know her name.
See?
Do we go first?
Sure. Yeah.
My name's Samaya Plater. I'm from Langston, Michigan. I'm a social work major with a minor in psychology.
Mhm.
Anything else?
What year is this?
Yeah, I
for?
was going to say,
I'm a
what
sophomore.
Sophomore.
you are a sophomore. We have freshmen and sophomores.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Tamaya?
Samaya.
Samaya. Nice to meet you, Samaya. You look like you were having a good time today, too.
Was that at lunch? Did,
That
you guys-
just-
Yes, we were dancing down there.
That just warms my heart.
did they feed everybody?
Yeah.
I should have been over
Yeah,
there.
you should have been over there.
Dang
We
it.
didn't get to good food like them though.
Yeah, we got good. Sorry.
What was it though? What?
The usual green bean salad,
Okay.
piece of chicken, the
Okay.
usual stuff. Yeah.
The past
Potatoes.
two,
Potatoes weren't too bad.
we have never had a class behind us in the past 2 days. It has been, I don't know if it's because it is homecoming week, but
Probably.
this room has been blowing up.
Okay, they're singing. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so we've had to like
Okay.
speak over them and show videos. So
Okay.
I try not to get distracted.
Oh, they're practicing. Yeah, that's fraternity stuff. Okay. All right. And so my name is April. I'm April Barker Casey. I am a licensed social worker. I live in College Hill in Cincinnati.
Okay.
I am a graduate of 1994. So when I was here, there was no social work department.
That's true.
That's true. So my major here was sociology. I left here and I'm from North Chicago, Illinois. So I left here and did not want to go back there. And so I moved to Cincinnati.
Did you start here in 94 or you graduated?
Graduated in 94.
Okay.
Mhm.
How was it like when you went to Central and now?
So I was telling somebody about that this morning. So this morning's class was supposed to start at 9 and there was one student present. And I was like, that was just not allowed.
Right.
Like you
Right.
show up at 9:02 and you might not get in. It just depends on whether the professor was feeling nice that day. That you just had to go. You missed class.
Mhm.
So you got there on time and you got there dressed. Like there was no way we would go out in a bonnet or
Mhm.
like not looking like you were going someplace.
Mhm.
Every Friday was like a dress up day. It was whatever your major was, you put some clothes on and you act like you were going to work on
Mhm.
that day. So Friday people were suited and booted. We had, of course, that was after Purple Thursday because Keys threw a party every Thursday. So we had Purple Thursday. What else did we do? We had this was my building. I grew up here in Wesley.
Uh-huh.
But a lot of the other, like your student union is new. Hey, this was my partner before the
Oh, cool.
before the pandemic.
Okay.
So the student union and that sort of those buildings are newer. So we walked where we needed to go and we got there on time,
Mhm.
or we didn't get in the classroom.
They
So
need to enforce that now.
Mhm.
That
It's a
we go
big
there because they're
difference.
too nice.
yeah, there's a
Everybody.
big difference than when I was here. But like I said, there
Pandemic
was
really threw it off
yeah, I'm sure.
because we did open to major flexibility, which I'm okay with. I am a social worker.
Sure.
I've practiced 20 years.
Mhm.
I've been with that, but I also know the statistics on failure.
Right.
So we don't
If you're
want
not
freshmen
here.
and sophomore
Mhm.
online.
You definitely should be here
Right.
to look at somebody's face and
Right.
see if they're getting the material that you're presenting. So
Right.
So when I left in 94, I moved to Cincinnati. I got a job at alumni. I'll talk louder. so I got a job and it was sort of like a government job, right? And okay, so I did that and I realized that that wasn't going to pay me enough money
Right.
without a license. And so
I worked 3 years without a license.
really,
It paid nothing.
it paid almost, yeah.
I
So
got $5 and $10 an hour. For real.
right. So I actually came back after a year to meet with a professor, Dr. Crockett, who recently passed. I asked Dr. Crockett, what else can I do? And she said, you need to go to graduate school.
Okay.
And so Dr. Crockett made a phone call to, at the time was Dr. Phil Jackson over at the UC School of Social Work. And because I was a top student, I went to class. I ended up with a full ride for a master's degree and $700 stipend a month. It was a lot of money back then.
That is a lot.
So I got a master's degree and went to work
In Michigan.
in Cincinnati.
Okay, so you went to UC. Okay.
Master's degree at UC and went to work. So I have done it all. You said from Cincinnati. So Lighthouse, Beach Acres,
Lighthouse.
Children's Home, so I've done a whole lot of that. And when I left here, I had 30 years old middle management type stuff. And so I did everything that I wanted to do in terms of climbing the ladder, and then decided that Children's Hospital pays me more than all of those jobs and I'm only responsible for myself. And so right now I do trauma therapy at Children's Hospital.
And you get a pension.
And I get to do it from my house in my yoga pants and a nice blouse. And
Right.
so I've done that for the past 9 years. My own children went to college. They started about 6 or 7 years ago now. And so I picked up a shift at UC on the psych unit
PRN.
twice a month.
Okay.
So I literally go sit on a psych unit twice a month and do an assessment for people who come in. And during the week, I work from my house.
Is that the 13th floor?
That is. The one that's locked, that you have to take special elevators to get to. Yes, that's the one
Did you say you were a PRN?
at University Hospital. Yep.
Oh, I was a STENA this past 5 months.
Really?
Nursing home, yeah.
Which nursing home?
Meadowlodge Capital area in Lansing. That's
Mhm.
where I'm from.
Okay. Okay. Did you like that?
Yes, I really want to go back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, just working with like older people really made me realize that I'm taking everything for granted. So going to that nursing home, I got to deal with so many different people that I made a connection with one of the residents before they passed away. And I promised them I would come back to Central and get my degree.
And get a degree. I love that. Yeah. So somewhere along the way, you find what you're supposed to be doing. All of those jobs led me to trauma therapy. And one of the things I realized is that it's all been trauma therapy. We haven't been calling it that. We didn't use that language, but the trauma is the same. And kids, adults, they're all still experiencing. And honestly, we've all been traumatized in these past couple of years because of COVID. So we're all dealing with some things one way or the other. So I feel like I was absolutely prepared coming through Central State. Just what I talked about, come to class or you're absent, right? Or if you miss some days, professors were saying, hey, I'm coming to, they're asking about you, they're coming to find you, they're making sure. Or if you sit in class and look like something is not right, somebody notices and they're saying something. So not only as I matriculated through Central State as like the student side of it, I pledged while I was here. I feel like a bit in the minority here. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, okay? So while I was here, I did that. And I was an RA. And so I stayed in one building until I graduated in Williamson Hall.
I was in Williamson.
Really, I stayed there. I stayed in Williamson. So I was on the second floor of Williamson until I graduated. That's where I was. And so all of those things prepare me for what came next. And these alumni are out of order. They just come in and take over a classroom.
I know, and I should
Just
try to.
rude. Just rude, but you can't never be quiet. Okay. And so I don't know if they have questions, you're not going to be able to answer any questions that they have with you.
If they say something,
Okay.
I'll see it.
So I don't know who's on, but if you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. How are you? I'm good.
So we have an asynchronous class, which is very confusing, but since COVID, we've started filming and it also saves the recording.
Okay.
So students, I'm a real big proponent of live in person on time, so I'm always here and try to model that behavior. Lots of other students do that, and some thrive online. I would not be able to.
Oh, that's a sound.
It's not
Okay.
a question. That's probably just an email.
Okay, good.
But I did college in the mid '90s. I've been a social worker since 2001. I was at Lighthouse for a while, and I did my doctorate at UC. But I went to UK for social work.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
So it's been, COVID has been very weird as we do this filming, and this year we put in a new policy that actually freshmen and sophomore can't do online classes.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I know that's good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because we've seen the statistics and like.
Right.
So we are, if anybody wants to come introduce.
Yeah, so I'm done.
We
I'm-
have more chairs.
We
where I
have
can
more
scoot
chairs
the
and more
camera back
people. You can
further.
sit here and let the people see you.
Tell your story.
And I'm not gonna be rude like everybody else, but since you're coming over here. So good to see you.
Same
again.
here, sweetie.
Rick, what time you about to talk now?
I'm about to speak now, intelligently.
Speak clearly.
Can you please sit in the back of
Pull
the
out your shades. Not
These are-
possible.
class? Trying not to see you. Okay. So my name is Ari Johnson. I am also known as Ree. I graduated long time ago, 91. And my degree was in social work. So I have done a lot of things, traveled a lot of places. Where I am now is Michigan Job Challenge, which is associated with Michigan Youth Challenge. So it's basically a quasi-military program that the kids that between the ages of 16 to 18 can first go to the Youth Challenge program. They can get their high school diploma or their GED, and then they can they have to have a job by the time they leave. What else can they do? They can go into the military if they're old enough. And then once they finish that 22-week program, there's a break. And then if they choose to, they can go to the program across the street, which is where I am now, which is the Michigan Job Challenge. And so what they do there, it's a little more laid back. They have their own rooms different from what they did across the street. They all stayed in the barracks. It was really like military. And so they can get a certification in drone, in construction. What else do we have? We have EMT. So they can get a certification. And so when they finish the program, which is usually about 14 to 18 weeks, sometimes 20, they finish and they can usually step into a job with that certification. Done a lot of different things, primarily working with kids that were in detention and on probation, these types of things. Graduated from Central, was involved with athletics. That's why some of my CSU knucklehead brothers and sisters are here. Excuse me? Yeah.
The audience.
Exactly. But so, yeah, I did that. I've been in Maryland. I was a teacher at a detention facility. I was in Tennessee, worked at a kid's prison, also worked in safety as an admin. And then I went on the floor in production as a supervisor. Done a lot of different things, but I always end up coming back to working with teenagers, which is where my passion is. So I don't know if there's any questions or any more details. Yes, ma'am.
I'm from Michigan, so
Okay.
what part of Michigan is this place?
This is in Battle Creek. It's at the, huh?
That's close to me.
Mm-hmm. We actually had some staff that were living in Lansing and driving to the program. So yeah, so we're at Fort Custer is where the Job Challenge program is. And they do have these across the country. They don't have one in Ohio, which I don't know why, but they do have them in Hawaii, Texas, Illinois, Indiana. So they're all over. Georgia has some. Do they have one on the East Coast? Do you know
No, I don't.
of? Okay.
I'm sure, I mean, it's always different type of programs that, especially in DC,
Mhm.
that they have.
I think they have one in, I want to say Maryland, but it's all National Guard. So I'm a part of Department of Veterans Affairs, National Guard. So that's what all of the programs are based off of. So they get their funding from the state and from, we get national money as well. So it's in Battle Creek, so that's not far from Lansing. Yes.
Fair question.
Mhm.
How many kids normally come into your program?
Number of kids. So across the street, they try to get like 160 because they know a lot of the kids now, as you guys well know, have very little discipline, very little structure. And like she said, COVID just messed up everything. So we're getting the kids now that have been out of school for 2 years. So this is a whole new ball game for us. Initially, the program, so across the street is like 160 because they know they're going to weed some out that are going to quit and want to go home, and we try to get them to stay. And then we usually end up graduating like 120 to 140. And then across the street, we started out with 60. I think we're down to like 45, 44, somewhere in that.
So do you ever have kids that ever come back? Like,
No.
they leave?
Nope, they don't come back.
Are
Not
they allowed
to
to come back though?
come back to what, be a part of the
Yeah,
program?
be a part of the program.
Nope.
They leave.
They graduate.
But I'm talking about not graduate, when they fail and quit and go home. And then
Um,
something happens.
For the first program, for the Youth Challenge program, if they get kicked out or they decide they don't want to be there, they have to stay out a year and then they can come back. But for the Job Challenge, they don't, if you choose not to finish, I don't know of any that have come back, so. Mhm.
Because you said that you got a social work degree in 91, and then
Mhm.
94 there was no social work program.
Social welfare.
So it went away for a little bit.
Social welfare.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then we got accredited.
Yep, they were working on the
That- that is it.
accreditation,
They weren't accredited.
correct.
Okay. That's
So Dr. Allen did accreditation in 2017, and then we regained accreditation this summer for 7 more years. So that was
Okay,
our
that
exciting
is good.
news. Hi, come on. This is class. This is it. Come on in. We have several alums speaking and answering any questions.
Hi,
you
how
have.
are you? So I brought some gear. I have some neck straps. I have some hats up there.
Can I get a hat?
Sure,
It's legit.
sure.
So I was explaining to them the live and asynchronous and filming of classes that is even new to me because I'm a Cincinnati Purcell Marion graduate of 1996, and then did college in the late 90s, UK social work, and then UC for counseling. And we never had online classes or Blackboard. It all started coming out in about 01, 02, and 03. And you all do better with the electronic stuff than I would. I think I would have never finished college if it was online. during my-
I can't do online.
Right. You gotta come in
It's
person.
too fast paced for me. I need to actually hear my professor talking to me so I can grasp the concept.
It was like the mic is right there, so how can you hear half of what's going on? The mic is
No,
on
it's
it.
like you're not paying attention if you're online.
Right.
You're doing what you want to do, but you're
Right.
just here. No, I'd rather learn.
So if any of y'all want to introduce yourself and are okay with being part of the asynchronous recording for Social Work 101, that's what is being recorded live, and then it will save for students to watch later.
I have a question. So you're from Michigan. Where are you from? Ireland. Orlando? Ireland. Ireland.
Country Ireland.
Ireland.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a long way from home. Okay, but I moved to Georgia. Okay, 2 years ago. Okay, yes, okay, okay. So you moved to Georgia. Okay, and I asked because one of the things that I like to talk about when I'm in front of students is to find your alumni chapter when you get back to your hometown. I had no idea when I left here that the alumni chapter in Cincinnati existed, but I'm there now monthly. I serve as a secretary this term. I was the vice president before that, so I'm there. I'm active. We have tons of events where we raise money for scholarships. So scholarships are available for all of the existing chapters. You just have to maybe go online and do a Google search or something to find your chapter. And there's money available, but in addition to money, and just as important, there are resources available. So you can call somebody and say, I am having trouble finding a new job. I'm a teacher. I've passed these tests. We've got tons of people in our chapters that can help you. And if they are not in hiring positions, I promise they know people who are in hiring positions. And so please, when you go back to your cities, find your alumni chapters and get involved.
Absolutely. What are the major cities that have them? Like the big ones?
So I know for sure, we do in Cincinnati.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah, DC has a chapter, Cleveland has, Columbus,
Detroit.
Detroit, Chicago,
Atlanta.
yeah.
Doug is
East side,
responsible
yeah.
for that chapter.
Yeah, so since I'm in Michigan, I'll go to Detroit for the chapter.
I would look online. So I know y'all don't like Facebook, but.
I love Facebook.
Oh, really? Is that the new thing?
So we all have, so the old people have Facebook pages and their chapters have Facebook pages. And so for sure, and in Cincinnati, we also have IG. I don't run that. That don't sound like coming out of my mouth, we got IG. So,
Is that
but you can look.
Yes,
Yeah. So you can definitely look online and do a Google search and find a chapter. We have in Cincinnati adopted the students from not Ireland, but the other islands like Bahamas.
Mhm.
And so we've adopted them, and they're able now to apply for our scholarships.
Oh, that's good. Cincinnati's probably the closest, biggest city.
Dayton,
Okay, Dayton.
well, Dayton is not probably as big, but
Right,
they're closest.
Right. I shouldn't exclude Dayton. Anyone else want to? I know it's putting you on the spot.
We need, oh, you need us to say something?
Yeah, you just want to introduce, tell your story, what you did.
So,
I can even bring the computer.
oh, you can bring it around, oh.
Because we got live students.
Oh, we got that, okay. Hello, I'm just coming off the road. So, my name is Terrell Jones. I'm class of 1993. I'm from the Washington DC area. I wasn't a social worker, social work major, but I was an accounting major over at the business department. I played football from 1988 to 93. I graduated in 93 as an accountant major. Homecoming to us is just special. I mean, it's really like a family reunion. We got a group text that we just, as soon as we finish homecoming on Sunday, we just get back and start trying to book our rooms, for next year. I mean, it's crazy. You can call it sick, but I just want to let you know that Central State is special. It's a really special HBCU. Living in Washington, D.C., yeah, people from Howard, Bowie State, some people at Hampton, but people from Howard meet people from Howard. It's, hey, but people from Central State meet Central State. It's like a glow.
You saw us.
Yeah,
You saw us when you walked in.
yeah, I mean, it's really special. And just as far as being an accounting major, I worked in the actual public sector for some years. Now, recall me top flight. So I actually work for the Central Intelligence Agency. So the CIA, if you hear about that, if I can do it, and I play football and went to Central State, anybody can do it. So, and then it's the crazy part. It's Centralians that you meet at my agency and we just glow. We just, it's like a family thing. And I've been with the agency for like almost 17 years. It's been a good thing to me. Everybody call me Secret Squirrel. That's my nickname, top flight, whatever you want to call it. But just, like I just said, Central's been very special and just need you guys to stay the course.
Mm-hmm.
Stay the course. Because in this world, it's crazy. But if you stay the course, do your job, do what you got to do, and you can be successful. Okay? I mean, it's still as a grown man, I'm 51, and it's still challenges. But me being here at Central made me, it don't bother me at all. So that was just really it about myself.
Which high school, please?
Went to DeMatha Catholic High School
Okay.
in Hyattsville, Maryland.
See if I can turn these around. That might help. All right. So I think that's all right. So I'm trying to think of. So were you all around the same? You okay? Go ahead.
We're all friends.
All around the same,
We're all the same player.
yeah, all the same class. Well, some people celebrating their 30th this year. Next
Okay.
year is my 30th. For 93. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's awesome.
Sorry, Terrell.
No.
I wasn't prepared to say anything, but as I was sitting here and I was talking to April, I was thinking about when I was here,
And you are?
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right.
I'm Nicole Johnson. I actually didn't graduate from Central. However, I spent 3 years of my life here, and those 3 years had a really great impact on where I am today. I ended up getting my degree from University of Phoenix, my bachelor's in business administration. In January, I have my master's, I have my MBA. But when I left Central, due to certain situations, circumstances, I was able to get a job at the neighborhood center I used to participate in as a youth. And I started off part-time as a mentor and group facilitator. throughout the years, I developed different relationships with different young ladies. That was in I left there in 1999. I started in 1993. It's 2022, and the young ladies that I see that I work with that were teenagers, all of them, they still call me by my maiden name. And I can see what impact that I had as being in the social work field had on them, because the things that I taught them, they're still doing them today. And I say that if you're majoring in social work and you have the passion for it, whatever you do, when you interact with, whether it's the elderly, whether it's youth, families, etc., it's going to have an impact later on down the line. Like I said, from 1999, when I left that field, 2022, I see the impact that it has on them. And that makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I did something that was able to help somebody. So all of the young ladies that were really close to me, they're successful now. One was in the Army. Another has her own business. Another one is a caterer. So you may not feel the rewards when you first start, but later on in life, it'll show. So that's it.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because I was a social worker at Claremont Recovery Center from 06 to 09. And one of my former students found me on Facebook, one of my former clients. And we do kind of make fun of Facebook, I guess. But, and I'll even teach how a lot of times I won't friend anybody that's on Facebook that is a client, but I just saw this random message come up 10 years later, and the kid wanted to say what he had done good with his life. Like I'd visit him in the detention center weekly, and we had trauma therapy sessions, and he's doing okay. He's, living more of has 2 kids, runs his own towing company, is able to provide for the family and do well. And when I met him at 14, he was locked up and in trouble and having lots of things go on. But luckily, turning around before you're 18, I'm sure some of those records are sealed, and he was able to do something with life. But you don't think about that until you hear from them. I guess he might have found me in like 2017 or 2018. It was like, sometimes Facebook has these like blocked messages, I guess. And I was able to like see in there, and he wrote like a long paragraph. I'm like, this is weird. And I opened it up, and I have since friended him and followed him, and I haven't seen him get in trouble again, so that's exciting. And he does well. He just had another baby, he's been married. And I never, in the immediate rewards of social work, you want to quit. You're like, the burnout is high. You're like, what am I even doing? But when you hear those stories 10, 15 years later from a client that wants to come back and say hi, that makes it worth sticking around.
All right, who's next? Go ahead, Bernardo. Introduce yourself.
So it's a live class, and if you want to just tell your story, maybe high school major.
It's not a selfie though.
Yeah. Hello,
I know there's
Smooth
two.
Town. Oh, good afternoon. I'm Bernardo Williams from DC, graduated 1993. I said good afternoon to him.
Lori.
Oh,
Now you get to give her a song.
so I graduated in 1993. My degree was computer science. How I graduated, I have no idea. Like with some, you know what you wanted to do before you came to college. With me, my main goal was at that time not to get locked up, coming from where I came from in DC. So I hung with the crowd who, I played football in high school. My friends wanted to go to college, so I like, I think I'm gonna go to college. They had no idea where I wanted to be, but I heard computer science made good money, so I chose computer science. But sometimes you choose your degree, not for money, but choose because that's what you want to do. And when you become good at it, you're gonna make your money regardless because you're good in what you do. But sometimes don't chase the money because sometimes it's not really, all money is not good money. So, choose your, what you want to graduate in wisely But when you choose it, go for it hard. And sometimes you're gonna want to quit. Sometimes you ain't gonna want to study. Me, I say I saw my way through. I was straight C's. So I saw my way through C. But now that I'm older, if I could do it all over again, I would have studied harder, partied less, and ran. I had no regret with the crowd I ran with. I had good friends. And now 30 years down, we still good friends like brothers and sisters. So college was a lifesaver for me because sometimes you need to get away from the environment that you came up in. Then once you go back to that environment, looking from the outside, because at first you was looking from the inside. Looking from the outside, you see a whole lot of things that you was about to do or you thought about doing. It's not even hard not to do it now because it's not really a temptation compared to when you was inside. It's a very hard temptation because who you're dealing with and who you're hanging around. So take advantage of being in school. Don't take it for granted. And intern. So currently work for Raytheon. I'm in cybersecurity. I love it. I love the job, but I know I was going to do it. So what you choose to do, just do it well. Any questions? Questions.
The internship is excellent idea and thought, and we force it in social work. So to get your social work degree, you have to have an internship. This year we signed up for a grant that provides our students
I'm about to get up.
$5,000 right for an internship. So
That's real good.
that's the first time. I know I never got paid for any of my social work internships. I let them know 'cause that's just normal,
But it was tough though for us to get internships, and when you did
Where
get
they
an
at?
internship, once you graduated, trying to get a
You know, I
job,
can't see.
it was all unless it was who you know.
right.
Right,
I know you want it.
right,
I know the importance.
exactly.
First job.
One thing that helped me when I left, like I said, things happened and I had to go home.
The kids that you
What did that question say?
I don't know, I can't see.
I
So,
know you weren't a social work major, but many people in the field have more than one job to make ends meet. Are there any good paying jobs in social work?
I can
I
talk
went
about
and I
that.
talked to her and she said, okay, sure, July is that person. And
Sorry,
she
Sade, we're checking it.
I'm gonna say, I don't see anything.
So a lot of somehow the rumor has gotten out that you have to work more than one job in social work. And I'm correcting them that we often love it and do a PRN job on top of our full-time job. And that way you can make good money, but you don't have to work more than one job. So that's kind of the rumor that I'm dispelling, a myth that's,
That's what
I
I've
never
always
had.
said that. You do not have to work more than
Right.
one job. I
but you can.
technically did not have to pick up a second job when my
Right.
kids went to school,
Right.
but I found myself at home by myself.
Mhm.
So I picked up a shift, and it's a shift twice a month.
Correct.
And it's not necessary, but I enjoy it.
Like I said, for hospice, once a month, overnight, volunteer. And I think the interpretation was we have to work two jobs. I said, no, I do work an extra job because I love it and it gives you extra money. So it's great, but I do not have to work a second job. You have the option to, with a license, to do lots of different stuff.
And the other thing to remember too is having your degree makes a big difference.
Mhm.
So with my social work degree, like I said, I started out, my internship was at Greene County Juvenile Detention Center with Jan Smith, actually. I think that was his last name. And so as time went on, I was in Tennessee and I worked as an admin, and then I ended up in production as a supervisor on the floor. And so social work is broader than people think.
Mhm.
It encompasses a whole lot of things. So
Mhm.
I knew nothing about building cars,
Mhm.
but I knew how to interact with people.
Mhm.
And that's all it was. And then again, like I said, I always come back to this, and I worked in detention, started out in detention in Dayton in Montgomery County. And excuse me, they're always hiring. That is a field that's always hiring. You can always get overtime hours, which is a blessing and a curse, I think. But you can always make the money. And like Bernardo Butchie said, you know, if it's in your heart, if that's your passion, you'll be able to do what you want to do and the money will come.
Mhm.
So don't worry about that.
Okay, what I just started.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh.
Yeah, just
Okay.
introduce yourself.
Hello.
Job, high school,
My name is
maybe.
Michelle Campbell. I came to Central State in 1985 on a track scholarship. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And once when I attend Central, I was kind of homesick because the environment of Ohio being slow, like a slow pace. And, by me coming from Philly, it was always a fast pace. So I had to get used to it. But one thing I could say is the friends I had when I entered into this university, I'm still friends with now. I work for a company called Mermax, in which is TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods. I've been employed almost 30 years, and also I'm a track coach. I'm a high school track coach. So I'm getting ready to retire. I'm a supervisor in loss prevention. So I'm getting ready to retire from TJ Maxx so I could be a full-time track coach.
I ran in high school. What's a good time for an 800?
Well, now or back then?
Back then,
Well,
1992.
well,
That's what I ran in 92.
Well, for girls, it was like a 210
okay,
because that's what I ran, a 210.
Right.
And that was back in 85.
2 laps.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
So
I was a cross country runner, so that was like our long
Yeah.
distance. track.
I'm all public in cross country.
Okay.
And I guess that's it.
So we were just talking earlier about as far as like degrees.
Oh,
No, you're fine. In my government agency, 15 years ago, you have a degree, that's fine. If you didn't, they let you slide in, and then you have to take like a couple classes, especially in the county field. You take like 4 classes, then all of a sudden, you're good to go.
Mhm.
But now, this is
MBA.
why it's important, you gotta have your degree, because I don't care if you say I'm 1 credit away, and that thing come across our desk. Now they pushing that to the side,
Right.
because they want to make sure that you are ready, that you went to school and you got that paper.
You
You
finish.
get that paper, that
Yeah,
takes you a long way. Nobody can take that away.
It gives you points with the government. So I work for defense, so that's part of the Department of Defense. So it gives you points. The higher your degree, like for an associate, you get a certain amount of points. Bachelor's, you get a certain amount of points. And master's, PhD, you get points. So the higher your degree, the more points you get. And that bumps you up above everybody else.
Mhm.
And that's what I always tell the kids, more letters, more money. If somebody has a high school diploma versus somebody that doesn't, you're gonna make more money.
Mm.
You're gonna have more opportunities. And then you keep increasing in your degrees and your experience, it's gonna be more money, more opportunities that are gonna open up for you. So I think that's important as well. But the other thing is, I always tell them, a lot of times, like I said, I knew nothing about production, but I had my degree, so they saw that, oh, she's able to start something and finish something.
Mhm.
And technically, I should probably be a doctor by now because I was in school 8 years, set out, changed majors, all these wonderful things. But as long as you finish, that's all that matters.
Right.
And then it allows you, the flexibility to pick and choose what you do and don't want to do. I've worked in a factory before, and I stayed until I found another job and said, okay, I know I don't want to do that, so I'll go ahead and finish up school. So just showing that you can complete something. And that's one of the things about the programs is I tell the kids, yeah, you can quit. Yeah, you can go home. However, this is going to become a pattern that you just start something and it gets hard, especially nowadays. These kids, they're like, oh, well, she's looked at me the wrong way. I'm quitting. I'm going home. Or they said this to me. And again, the Youth Challenge program used to be extremely military. They would get in your face just like, and there's a video I can let you guys see, but it's a short video that shows drop-off day when the kids get dropped off. They've all gone through these different stations. They've got hair shaved for the boys. They've gotten their clothes issued. And when they get off the bus over at Fort Custer, which is where we do the training, the sergeants used to be on both sides of the bus door for them to come off, hollering, hurry up, get up, let's go, go. We can't do that anymore. Before COVID, because these kids, they're yelling at me. Well, this is what you signed up for. So if they start quitting at this level and they start quitting, it's gonna become a pattern. So just be mindful of that. Whatever you do, go back and finish. Even if it takes you, like I said, 8 years, 10 years, whatever it takes, just finish.
30 years.
30 years,
Mhm.
hey,
And there's
got
nothing
it.
wrong- And there's nothing wrong having a plan B.
No,
Because now, like my kids, my son, it's all about being an entrepreneur. You know, oh, I want to own my own business.
Mhm.
But right now, he's still taking classes because he got to fall back on something.
Mhm.
Because that's just the way it is.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm trying to instill in him. I mean, my wife on, yeah, we know you want to be an entrepreneur, but you got to get that degree, just in case that paper. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. It feels great to have a degree because I'm telling you, when I work and the people I deal with, maybe all snooty, these little Cornell and Harvard person, that people that ain't even smarter than you, they just know how to take a test.
Mhm.
But when they get into real life situation as far as work,
yes,
that's what Central brings you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what it brings you to be strong and be legitimately know how to answer stuff. Having good professors and stuff to get you right, get you there. And I'm telling you, nothing, this is my last thing I'm gonna say.
no, it's not.
It feels great when somebody try to come to me. So, did you go to Central State? Where? I was in Ohio, work for a small school. Okay, do you have a degree? Yes, BS, 1993 in accounting. Oh, okay. And I really undercover told him to shut up,
Mhm.
but I didn't professional.
I
I'm so
would
proud of
also say go, and if you're going into social work, to make sure that you get the license that you need. So as a social worker, when you have a bachelor's degree, you can get an LSW, and that's important. That's what lets you go to work. And I'll tell you, when I came out of school, when I finished my master's degree, I sat for the LISW thinking I just want that higher license and I can do it first, and I didn't pass that test. And so 90 days you had to wait and sit for the next test. I took the LSW because the LI is independent. So I took the next test, which I passed, which allowed me to work, but it took 3 years before I passed that LISW. And so, but I didn't stop. And it's crazy because it costs every time you take that test. And my husband is like, we're just gonna get a separate account and we're just gonna put the money in there. It's not an option. It's not an option. And it was kind of upsetting to me because I would have a conversation with somebody just like what you're talking about, but now same conversation with an I in my name, and they're responding differently. They're listening to me differently. They understand now all of a sudden what I'm saying. Same conversation, same person, but now I have an I. And then, so LISW, and then I put an S behind my name because I was a supervisor. So the S means the state says you are qualified to supervise. So now it's completely different because the people who started looking at me like that, now I'm the boss and the tone has changed. And so anytime you get the opportunity to get those additional letters, more money, anytime you can get them, absolutely go and get them. If you know that you are not a good test taker like myself, sit in a class. The class is worth it. It's an investment in yourself. Take the class, take the test, and get the letters. It's worth it. You won't regret it.
I guess they saved the best for last. They keep calling
This is
me
grandma.
They
Roll
call
on
me-
up so they can see
Right.
you. They can't see all that hair.
Lord, you see how my friends see, I'm here and I'll introduce myself, but everyone in this room is my friend. We've been together since the early 90s. It is 30 plus years later, and we still, when I say we love each other, we love each other. My name is Lori Dickerson. I am a dean of students at a middle school in Delaware. I was born and raised in Philadelphia, and I was here at Central State in 1987 to 1992. I originally came here for social work, and I was in the social work program for 1 year. Then I transferred over into the education department. When I left Central, I left with 2 degrees. So I had an early childhood degree and I had my bachelor's degree. But the most important thing that I left with was my daughter. So I became a mother while I was here at Central State. I was 21-ish, but I did finish in 5 years. And I had my baby girl here in Xenia, Ohio, of course. I have since gone on to earn 2 master's degree, and I am working on my doctoral degree, and I'm in the final stages of that. So I'll be a doctor at the end of this school year. I tell everybody, nobody has a story like my story, and your story is going to be different. When I came here to Central, I didn't know anything about HBCUs and all that kind of stuff. I didn't have parents that could take me to school fairs and everything else. I got here on a track scholarship, and Coach Turner met me at the airport and picked me up, took me around and all those kind of things. So this was new to me, a new environment. I quickly met some friends, and those friends are sitting in this room right now. I had to work. I worked in the athletic department. I was the manager for the women's basketball team. Coach Check, who I love, she always made sure that I had. She would make sure that if it's anything that I needed, she would point me in the right direction just for anything possible to make sure that I was successful. However, the teachers here in this school is a couple teachers in specific named Mary B. Howard. Miss Howard, she has since gone on and passed away less than 5 years ago. But Mary Howard had a standard. She did not let you come to class any old kind of way, dressed any old kind of way. She did not allow you to hand assignments in any old kind of way. If you needed some resources, it was in the back of the room. She put it back there, and you had to fix things before you turned them into her. Late was not an option for Dr. Howard. We got what you call tough love. They were tough on us, but they loved us. And because of that love, we're here today. Some of our professors are not here on earth, and we have been charged to take on to that position to come back each and every year to feed into our fellow alumnus, the students, everything. That's why we're here. They have not paid us, have not given us any money. They have not promised us anything. So we are doing this by free will. And this is a commitment that we've given to Central State. It's something that I guess you don't know when you get here, but it is expected. Once you graduate, you come back and you give back. You give up your time. You're going to give up your energy. And eventually, when you get some money, you will give up that money too. Okay? And that is something that you do. You instill it in your heart to give back, because you don't understand where you are right now. You are in that, I guess, cocoon kind of stage, turning into a butterfly. You are changing. You're changing right before your eyes. And when you come out, everything is going to blossom. It's not going to be easy, though, but you will feel that change. So that's who I am, what I do, and I will tell you, I will be back here again next year if God gives me the breath in my body. I come back every year, and I make sure I talk with the students, and I appreciate the time, the energy, and everything for allowing me to come here and speak and to see my friends.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
That's what that doctoral degree is gonna get you.
Agree.
Oh, you know what? It's so funny. When I left the room, honestly, when I left the room,
I know, right?
no, when I left the room, it was 2 little girls on here. And last year I was a first grade teacher. So the teacher says, Ashton assassinated me. So I get on the phone. I said, go to Miss Bull's room. Go get her iPhone. I said, you come and do it. And I look at her. I said, what's going on in that classroom? I said, why is she calling me? Alyssa hit me. I said, why did Alyssa? So I'm over here investigating the whole scene and all that kind of stuff. And then Ashley's looking at me. I still have that relationship with her, even though she doesn't even know that I'm not even in the state. But I'm no longer in that building. But her teacher can call and say, Miss Dickerson's on the phone, and Ashton straightened up for me. So I told her I will be coming to see her and see what's going on in 2nd grade, because she's called me a problem. Now Ashton's rough, okay? And she's gonna be rough to whoever, but you gotta learn how to have that relationship with Ashton, and you can get her to listen so she knows when I get there, it's gonna be a problem, by the time I get down there. And I was showing her, you guys, so she can see what I was doing, that I wasn't just here, that we were speaking to other students just on a higher kind of level, but I do keep those kind of relationships with my students. And even when I'm not working, I'm working.
We did have a follow-up response too, and any of you can answer this. Sadie says, social work is something I'm passionate about, but older social workers told me there's no money in the field, so I'm just a little nervous.
They
And-
don't want you in the field. A lot of times it's jealousy because they know that you're probably going to exceed what they've done.
Mhm.
And whatever is in your heart, what God has put in your heart to do, that's your passion, you go for it. You will always be provided for. I'm telling you, people think that social work is the little old ladies in the long dresses and sitting and talking to clients and all this other stuff. It encompasses so much more. Your interactions with people in general is considered like social work. I mean, that's the gist of it. So don't narrow your scope. Like I said, most of my life I've been working with juvenile delinquents. And like I said, any place you go, all the states that I've been in Ohio, Tennessee, Maryland, Michigan, they are always looking for people to work because people don't always have the tolerance for it or the background information. So the degree is necessary as far as some of the schooling of interacting with people. But the money is always there. The opportunities are always there. So that's not true. Again, broaden your scope and do something outside of the box. And that's pretty much what you have to do. Like I said, I was never a part of the military. And when the kids come to the program for the youth program, the first 22 weeks, they always want to get to know you and ask you questions. Well, first of all, you're not supposed to be talking in the hall. Don't ask me personal questions. Well, Sergeant Johnson, how old are you? I'll tell you at the end of the cycle. What week? Week 23. It ends in 22. It doesn't matter. I'll tell you later. So I was not military, and I don't ever tell them that until probably the week 19, 20. They'll ask during the course of the cycle, what branch of the military were you in? It's not until the end of the cycle that they realize, and I tell them, I was never part of the military. My degree is in social work. I talk about HBCUs to all the kids, but especially with my melanated kids, because sometimes they see that they think they don't have the opportunity to do things. So I talk about HBCUs. I talk about even if they don't go to college, even if they decide to go to a trade school or something like that. Either way it goes, broaden your scope and decide what you want to do, what's in your heart, and that door will open for you. So don't let the old folks scare you off. I always want people to do more.
And you know what, I want to add that goes on into the finance world too. It's everywhere where the old heads want to tell you that you're not going to, make this money, whatever. Like I said before, stay the course. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do, and just set your mind to it, and then you'll be fine.
I want to follow up on what you said, but just real quick about the different levels of licensure, the different degrees, because at Lighthouse, that was one place I did work PRN. I chose to, because I also chose to work extra jobs if I could. I had my first baby at 42, my second one at 43, about to have a third at 45. So it's, old dad. So I did pick up extra jobs, and at Lighthouse, they'll give you 40 per billable hour if you see a client, which is good money. And yeah, you have to write a note, and that's what we train you to do. And then if you get an independent license, it's 45 per billable hour. Now at the private practice, they'll give you 50 per billable hour to see a client. And our teachers union lets us see up to 8 clients outside of the work here. So it allows you to make more money if you want it, if you're okay making your salary. We had a little salary cut during the pandemic, but everybody kind of suffered during the pandemic. And it is all about that extra licensure, extra initials after your name. And
Definitely helps. I think the only other thing I would add is know your worth. When I left my graduate program, there were people accepting salaries that I just was not going to accept. I have a skill set that you need. I'm good at this. And so you're not gonna pay me pennies to do it.
Mhm.
And so I think when you know your worth and you are able to communicate that to people, then of course you get what you need. I was able to, probably 10, 15 years ago, 10, 12 years ago now, probably more than that, because I've been at the hospital for 9 years, but I was at Lighthouse demanding $40, at that time,
Mhm.
saying I have an independent license, I'm not working for $20, who does it?
Right.
So I was having those conversations at that time at Lighthouse. I think once you understand the skill set that you have, that you can bring to people, then they'll respond accordingly.
At Crossroads, I'll be really quick. I just found out a year ago we paid our social workers $50 with an MSW, and that's only 1 year because we're accredited. It's 1 year to get your master's. You get to cut out the second year of an MSW because we've kept accreditation. I found out because of inflation, they raised it to 60 on New Year's, and then in March. So brand new MSW, LSW, they're paying them 68, and I thought that was nothing to scoff at. I was used to 35 when we entered the field, so 68. That sounded pretty good at Crossroads Hospice. So go ahead.
What I was gonna say is, when people talk about not making money, you have to define or give a definition of not making money. You're looking at a dollar amount. We're not gonna make LeBron James money, I can tell you that. That's in any field, okay? I'm in a whole nother field. So you're not going to make that type of money. But you also have to look and understand that money is not the end all to everything.
Mhm.
I can honestly say that being a social worker, a teacher, anything like that is a ministry. And you have been given that gift because everybody doesn't have the patience, everybody doesn't have the talent to do their job, to work with people, dealing with people with mental health issues, you're dealing with homelessness, you're dealing with all these kind of factors. Everybody can't do that kind of thing. So when you're looking at stuff, do not look at it for the money, because you're never going to get paid what you feel that you should get paid. You're never going to get that dollar amount of what you feel that you deserve. You will get some kind of compensation, but never to what you think that you should. But also, if you work for money, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do not work for the money. Allow it to be the ministry that you're working in. It is a calling. It is a talent. And I said, you'll get it in a little while.
Thank you guys
Oh,
for
okay.
coming. It's kind of embarrassing that our class wasn't here, but we do appreciate y'all coming.
They're all
And
here,
shedding
but
some light.
they're sitting in their dorm in their pajamas like this.
That's okay. Like I said, they may not physically be here, but in a couple of years, you know what your charge is? Your charge is to be here, to replace us, and to give back to the other students. You'll be able to give back, you'll be able to talk, and all those kind of things, because it is rewarding.
And being wise with our money, because I didn't learn how to manage money until I actually had to pay the bills and manage money and just know how to do like even a financial approach, a Dave Ramsey approach or something. So
See, I grew up poor. Growing up poor will teach you how to hold on to a dime, stretch, and everything else. And my friends, we have this running joke. It's 30-some years, and they still laugh because I worked in Zia at KFC. So at nighttime, they were getting ready to throw away the chicken. I would take the chicken and I bring it on campus, and I would sell it in the football games. And I did 50. I used to sell it for 50 cents a piece. So at the end of the night, I would have $20. Well, $20 wasn't a whole lot of money, but $20 in 1990 was like what $200 was, because we used to ride a bus, and the man's name was Wilbur. Wilbur would take us in town. It was 50 cents to go, 50 cents to come back. Beginning a party on Friday was $1. The party on Saturday was $1, and then I had to have like $2 to wash and dry my clothes. So really, all I needed was $5 a week to survive. So I had $20. So I worked 5 days a week, and I would sell the chicken or whatever. So I was averaging about $100. So I was rich.
that's a hustle.
I was rich. I told you, I didn't have parents that could give back, that didn't have that kind of money, that could go on and, I don't have Air Jordans, all this kind of stuff that you guys have. I see Louis Vuitton bags and Apple computers and all. We didn't have all that kind of stuff. We was up in the dorm where they had 50 phones and you had to stand in line. To one per floor, whatever, but we had two per floor. So I didn't have that. I had my friends. My friends are the ones that helped me and helped support me. And that's why I said Central means so much more than just the university. And the people here are my family. We weren't born from the same parents, but we are family. And you will feel that. And I told you, the feelings are gonna be different. It's not about the money. Always remember, it's not about the money. You do get an education. I can tell you when you were talking about different steps. For me, I am at year 25 at my job. I maxed out at the year 17. What that means is I can't make no more money just by being on the job. So then I had to take a lateral move, and the lateral move is going to school. Once you start taking classes, they gave me plus 15, plus 30, plus 45, plus 60, and then the doctorate. That's gonna be the highest, that you can go. And you just max out. I do work extra when it comes to working summertime. I could work Christmas break and all that kind of stuff with students with disabilities. So there are extra opportunities to make money. But again, like I said, it's not only about the money, it's about my passion for what I do.
Any questions? I also have friends that chase money.
You all the way from Ireland, what brought you to